Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today, we're taking a close look at SoundHound AI. We've got some recent reports here, and we're going to unpack what's really important for you to know about this company right now.
Think of this as your shortcut, really. Understanding SoundHound AI's current position, financials, tech strengths, but also the potential risks and what the future might hold. We're pulling from recent due diligence reports, news updates. The idea is to distill the key insights so you feel informed but not, well, overwhelmed.
Okay, let's get into it. Starting with the numbers, the financial performance seems like a really interesting story here.
It is. What's pretty fascinating is just the sheer growth. Q4 2024, record revenue, $34.5 million.
$34.5 million.
Which was, get this, 101% increase year over year.
Wow, over 100%. What's driving that?
A lot of it seems to be coming from the automotive sector. Their voice assistants are getting picked up more in new cars. That vertical focus seems key right now.
Incredible growth in just one quarter. And did that carry through the whole year?
It did, mostly. Full year 2024 revenue hit $84.7 million. That's up 85% from 2023.
85%, still very strong.
And they're not expecting a slowdown. The outlook in 2025 is between $157 and $177 million.
So massive growth, clearly. But what about the bottom line? Profitability. I see some EPS figures.
Right, and that's where it gets, well, more nuanced. Q4 2024 non-GAAP EPS was a loss of 5 cents.
Okay, a loss.
And the GAAP EPS, generally accepted accounting principles, that was a bigger loss, 69 cents per share.
69 cents loss, GAAP?
For the full year, the non-GAAP loss was 20 cents. So, yeah, the non-GAAP figure, which often excludes certain items, looks a bit better, but it's still red ink.
Right, so they are operating at a loss, which means a traditional PE ratio, price to earnings, that's not really useful here, is it?
Correct. No positive earnings, no standard PE. But like you said, those forward growth projections, the market is obviously betting on a shift towards profit down the road.
That makes sense. Okay, shifting to the balance sheet. Looks like some good news there.
Yes, definitely. They finished 2024 with zero debt.
No debt at all?
None, and nearly $200 million in cash. That's a strong position. Gives them breathing room, flexibility to invest.
That's certainly a positive mark. What about generating cash, free cash flow? Do the reports touch on that?
Not in detail, no specific figures,
Yeah.
but having that much cash and no debt, it does suggest they're managing liquidity reasonably well. We'd need, more detailed statements for a deeper free cash flow analysis.
Understood. And return on equity, I see that's negative.
Well, that ties back to the net losses, doesn't it? ROE measures profit generated from shareholder, and if there are losses, the return is negative. It's just something to track as they push for profitability.
Definitely. Now, the stock price, quite a journey there. A 382% increase over the past year is huge, but I also see mentions of recent volatility.
It's a real contrast, isn't it? That massive run-up shows strong demand, positive sentiment at one point. But the recent choppiness, well, it suggests things like those legal issues we need to talk about and just general market jitters are having an impact now.
So a healthy cash pile, but the market's sending mixed signals through the stock price.
Pretty much sums it up. The numbers tell one part, the market reaction tells another.
Okay, so that's the financial snapshot. Now let's try to understand what makes SoundHound AI. Well, SoundHound AI, what's their core thing?
At its core, it's voice artificial intelligence. They're a leader there. And a key point, a real differentiator, is they own their entire voice AI stack.
The whole stack. Explain that. What does that include?
Everything. From the moment you speak, speech recognition, understanding the meaning that's natural language understanding, managing the conversation flow, dialogue management, and then figuring out the reply-response generation.
Owning all of that?
Yeah.
Why is that important? What's the advantage?
Several potential ones. It could mean faster processing, no waiting on third-party bits, better control over quality, potentially better contextual understanding too.
Like understanding nuances in conversation.
Exactly. Think about asking your car, find the nearest gas station, but only if it has premium fuel and is open after 10 p.m. Owning the whole process helps the AI grasp all those conditions. Speech recognition hears the words, NLU gets the meaning, dialogue management keeps track, response generation gives the answer. It's end-to-end control.
Sounds like a solid competitive edge. The reports also mention specific focus areas.
They're very strong in automotive, as we mentioned, and also customer service. Think automated phone systems that actually understand you.
Okay.
And they're expanding, looking into healthcare, financial services, potentially big new markets opening up.
And they're riding some major trends. Voice commerce, Agentic AI.
Absolutely. Voice commerce buying things just by talking, it's gaining steam. SoundHound's system is being adopted by major car makers and, interestingly, restaurant chains,
Restaurants, huh?
which is a strong proof point.
Mm-hmm.
And Agentic AI, where the AI does tasks more autonomously, that's another area they're exploring.
Seems like partnerships are a big piece of the puzzle, too.
Yes, definitely expanding there. The collaboration with NVIDIA stands out. Using NVIDIA's AI hardware and software could give their voice AI a real performance boost.
I remember reading about CES 2025. What was the buzz there?
They demonstrated their voice commerce tech, and it apparently generated a lot of interest from big names across industries. Good visibility, positive reception suggests the tech is hitting the mark.
And their main products, what are they called?
There's the Houndify platform that's for developers to build SoundHound's AI into their own stuff. Then SoundHound Chat AI for more natural conversations, and SoundHound Smart Answering for automating customer service calls.
Got it. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. The people steering the ship, leadership and strategy.
Well, Kivana Wahudger, the CEO and co-founder, he's been there through this significant growth phase. His leadership is likely seen as pretty crucial.
And a recent hire caught my eye. A new CIO.
That's right. Shauna Del Euro, now Senior VP and Chief Information Officer. Bringing her in suggests a focus on beefing up their IT strategy, their infrastructure, which makes sense, right? As you scale, handle more data, more complex AI, you need that solid foundation.
Makes total sense. Now, every company faces hurdles. What are the challenges, the headwinds for SoundHound AI?
And this is where we need to talk risk. A big one is a class action lawsuit. It alleges misleading statements about their business, their financial reporting.
Okay, that's serious.
And there's a deadline for investors who might want to be lead plaintiff May 27, 2025. So that's hanging over them.
Legal battles can definitely create uncertainty. Any other internal issues flagged?
Yes, and this is also quite important. The company itself disclosed material weaknesses in its internal controls over financial reporting.
Material weaknesses, that sounds not good.
It's a significant concern. It means their processes for ensuring accurate financial reporting weren't operating effectively. That could impact future filings, compliance. It raises red flags.
Definitely. So how have these issues, plus maybe the broader market, affected the stock lately? We mentioned the volatility.
Well, despite that strong revenue growth we talked about,
Yeah.
the stocks had a rough go in 2025, a significant decline. It really seems to reflect investor nerves about the lawsuit, those internal control problems, and maybe just general caution around high-growth stocks right now.
So what's the general take from analysts? A mixed bag.
That seems fair. It's generally seen as high growth, but also high risk. The tech potential, the revenue growth, those are the positives. But the financial reporting issues, those are major concerns tempering the outlook.
And valuation. Are investors paying a lot for that growth potential?
The report suggests yes. High valuation multiples, like price to sales. It means the market has baked in some pretty significant expectations for future growth and eventually profits.
Which also means if they stumble.
Exactly. High multiples mean there's less room for error. Disappointments can lead to sharper drops in the stock price.
And the stock itself is quite jumpy. The beta.
Yeah. Very. A beta of 2.73. That means it tends to move about 2.73 times as much as the overall market, both up and down. Highly volatile.
Wow.
Plus, there's substantial short interest. A lot of investors are betting the price will fall. That adds another layer of complexity and potential volatility.
And competition must be fierce in this space.
Oh, absolutely. They're up against giants. Amazon with Alexa, Google Assistant, Microsoft's Cortana. These companies have massive resources.
So how does SoundHound compete?
Their strategy seems to be focusing on specific industries like automotive and offering that proprietary, customizable full stack we discussed, giving businesses more control than they might get from the big guys. But you raised a good point earlier. Does owning the whole stack make them vulnerable if one piece lags? That's a valid question.
Okay, zooming out then, the bigger picture. What might the future hold?
The voice AI market is moving fast, no doubt. SoundHound wants to cement its leadership. That Polaris initiative, though not fully detailed here, seems aimed at that, maybe pushing harder on voice commerce, more advanced AI.
So staying ahead on innovation is absolutely critical.
It has to be. Future growth hinges on that. Continued innovation, especially in things like Agentic AI, successful product launches. That's the path forward. But circling back to profitability, the impressive revenue growth is great, but the losses are also significant. Is there a clear roadmap to profit in their projections? That's what investors need to see.
And when do we get the next clues on that front?
Upcoming earnings reports, they'll be crucial. Everyone will watch revenue, of
Hmm.
course, but the focus will increasingly be on managing costs and showing that path to profitability. Given all this, the growth, the tech, but also the risks, who is this stock really for? Aggressive growth types, long-term believers willing to ride out volatility.
Good question. And any big external factors to keep in mind?
Always. AI regulation is a constantly shifting landscape that could bring new rules, new costs, supply chains for hardware components, that's another potential dependency. And, the broader economy, if things slow down, demand for new tech or cars could soften, impacting them indirectly.
Okay, so let's try to pull this all together, looking at everything we've discussed.
It really is a fascinating mix, isn't it? SoundHound AI presents this picture of really high growth potential alongside some pretty significant risks. The revenue numbers are impressive. Owning that full voice AI stack is compelling.
Especially their traction in automotive and customer
Right.
service.
And tapping into trends like voice commerce shows foresight. But
But those risks, the lawsuit, the material weaknesses in their financial reporting, those are serious flags.
can't ignore them. They create real uncertainty, potentially impacting confidence. It explains the contrast we see, that amazing past stock run versus the current volatility and analyst caution. It's complex.
So for listeners following SoundHound AI, what are the key things to monitor?
Keep a close eye on their technology adoption. Are they winning more deals? How are those partnerships progressing? But just as critical, watch for updates on resolving those financial reporting weaknesses and how the legal situation develops. Future earnings calls will be vital for gauging their progress towards profitability.
This has been a really useful breakdown. We hope this overview has given everyone listening a clearer picture of SoundHound AI right now. Remember to subscribe, like, and comment if you found this helpful. Let us know if there are other companies you'd like us to unpack.